So we're trying something different on our channel right now. These segments will only be posted onto YouTube, but we're going to start talking about different topics, usually covering one topic. It won't be long, 5 to 10 minutes, but tonight we're talking about Otega Oweh. So the field of 68, they've been going on college tours recently. They went to Louisville yesterday. They were in Lexington today covering UK. They were talking to Otega Oweh, Mark Pope. They also talked to Brendan Garrison, Jalen Lowe, Muhammad Diabate, but we're going to just be covering what Otega Oweh had to say in his segment whenever they were interviewing him. And basically, what stood out to me was two things. Otega Oweh, he's been out 4 weeks so far. There was a picture that surfaced about a month ago with him being in a boot, and basically, he's had turf toe. He's been out 4 weeks. He'll be back in 2 weeks at practice being fully healthy. I'm excited about that. What do you think, Cameron?
Yeah, I'm super excited to get him back. Obviously, the turf toe injury is very, very serious. So if you're an NFL fan, then you definitely. I was actually at that game. It kind of sucked to see that in person. But the turf toe is definitely very serious. It doesn't have a great name for how serious it is, in my opinion. I think it should maybe we should rebrand it to make it seem more serious. But yeah, getting him back is going to be so important. I've heard numerous people talk about outside of the Kentucky fan base how massive it is just to get him back this year. So yeah, getting that man fully healthy and having who's going to be the SEC preseason player of the year, getting him back fully healthy is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be awesome because I remember basically before they led up to why he's been missing time, he basically was saying that Jalen Lowe and Otega Oweh, they've been going at it during practice whenever he was fully healthy. So basically, it's going to be awesome to have Oweh back on the court so he can just go against Jalen Lowe because Lowe has been killing it during practice from what everybody has been saying online. And basically, Lowe is, of course, going to be point guard one. I'm excited to see what he can do, and he's definitely improved since, first coming to UK, and I'm excited about that. But no, I'm ready to see what Oweh can do, and I'm excited to see that he'll be fully healthy before the season starts because everybody was worried once they saw him being in a boot if he was practicing or not.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, getting that guy back, he's the ultimate competitor. Double Zero is gonna be one of the best players in the country. So yeah, having him out there competing against Jalen Lowe, to be the best, you got to beat the best. So if you're practicing against the best every single day, that's gonna do nothing but make you incredible. Iron sharpens iron. So yeah, getting him back is gonna be very important, not only for him but for the team in general.
Yeah, and for Oweh last year, in 36 games that he played, he had 16.2 points, 4.7 rebounds, 1.7 assists, and he shot nearly 50% from the field. He only shot, of course, 49.2%, but that's impressive. He definitely needs to work on his three-point shooting. He shot 35.5% this past year, and he was drilling it before, conference play started. For Oweh, he only shot 2.1 three-point attempts, and it felt like he shot a lot more before, conference play started, and he started to shoot less, I feel like, threes after that Clemson game. Like, I don't know how many threes he shot during that Clemson game, but he missed, quite a few shots, and I'm like, why didn't you just, cut in and dunk, or whatever. I felt like after that Clemson game, he decided to be more aggressive and started to attack the rim more. And I wish he could have shot definitely a couple more threes per game, during the season though.
Yeah, no doubt. I do feel like this year he's going to be not only him, but the entire team in general is going to benefit a lot from how loaded this roster is, where there's going to be a lot of attention across the board. Where last year, if you're Kobe Brea, he had to take so many difficult threes. And obviously he hit a ton of them because he's just that type of dude. But I think Otega is going to get a lot of open shots. And obviously he's going to be incredible as a slasher again this year. But not only Otega, but the entire team will be able to get a lot of threes. And I think Otega's 3-point percentage is only going to go up this year.
Yeah, and I sure hope so because, if he can shoot 4 3-point attempts a game and, shoot about 40% from three, I'll be happy about that. Of course, everybody's goal is to shoot 40% from three. So the 50-40-90 club, 50% from the field goal, 40% from the three-point line, then of course 90% from the free throw line. And also one other thing, I would love to see him improve his free throw percentage. He only shot 77.6%. He needs to at least be shooting 80% in my opinion or better.
Yeah, no doubt. With how much he'll be, getting fouled, he's gonna have to hit free throws. Like he'll be one of those guys that I know there's not clear path fouls or whatever, but like he's gonna be one of those guys where it's just gonna be like, all right, let's just foul him. Like he's gonna finish that. He's such a good finisher. So yeah, at the line this year, I do expect him to take big leaps,
Yeah.
for sure, efficiency wise.
Yeah, he was shooting 5 free throw attempts per game, which is pretty impressive. But if he can, make more of his free throws, he'll add more points to his points per game if he does that. So I'm excited to see that. And you could easily see Oweh if he continues to attack the rim, get, more free throw attempts, whether it be 6, 7, 8 free throw attempts, or if he just starts to become a better shooter and become lethal behind the arc, he could shoot more than 2 3-point attempts per game as well.
Yeah, no doubt. He's definitely gonna have to up his efficiency a lot, but I think that's gonna be there was a lot of weight on his shoulders last year because there weren't 12 guys deep that are going to be some of the best players in the entire country on that team. That last year's team is super special, but they weren't necessarily the most loaded squad. This year, I think he's going to be able to be more efficient because similar to how Jalen Lowe had to force a ton of stuff at Pittsburgh because he is the guy, Otega at times was kind of the guy where you'd be like, all right, go ahead, get you a bucket. Like that
Yeah.
was kind of his role at some points last year. So I think he's going to be much more efficient across the board this year.
Yeah, and Oweh did also say on the Field of 68 podcast with Jeff Goodman and Rob Dauster that he does believe this team is way deeper compared to last year. He felt the team was deep last year and the team was talented last year, but he just feels better about this year's team with the amount of talent that they have. And I'm excited to see what happens because UK could easily be a 12-man deep team, and he was even talking about how UK could potentially platoon if they needed to. But I'm excited to see this year's team because, Trent Noah, you would expect him to be, the 10th, 11th, 12th man, but he could easily become this year the 8th or ninth man off the bench. Of course, 8th or ninth isn't the best, but, it's better than being the 12th man coming off the bench.
Yeah, no doubt. I do think, yeah, it's probably 12 deep. But I do think by the time it gets to the nitty gritty and we're getting to postseason and everything, I think it'll probably be 8 or 9 deep because like if you're playing 12 deep at that point, you're just trying to. Like I think if you're playing your 8 or 9 best, you're just going to try to win games. Like you're just playing who is supposed to be in. So yeah, I don't think platoons. I don't think that would happen, but obviously platoons. I mean, that was kind of the talk when this roster was built. Was like, dude, are we gonna have to go platoons with this? Like this is gonna be an absolutely deep, loaded roster. But yeah, that is the big takeaway of just like this team is insanely deep,
Yeah.
and we're definitely not gonna have to worry about. Well, obviously injuries are gonna suck no matter what, but the injuries won't mean as much whenever you have a team that's this deep.
Yeah, and speaking a little bit about the big man play, of course, we saw last week where Jaden Quaytons, it looked like he was actually doing non-contact drills. I believe that came out on Friday, so that was exciting to see because earlier in the week, last week, uh, John Rothstein tweeted out that he was still not doing contact sports or anything, non-contact sports, I should say. So it's exciting to see that Jaden Quaytons, it looks like he's back on the court doing non-contact basketball drill, so I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Getting JQ back's gonna be really important. It does feel like with John Rothstein, like I love the man, but it does feel like a lot of BBN has kind of just turned on him. I think it's because we don't necessarily have a media rival because Jeff Goodman's now on our good side, but um,
Allegedly.
John Rothstein, he hasn't even done anything wrong. He's literally just had he had Kentucky like 11th in the SEC last year, and
Yeah.
then in the preseason AP poll, we're like 15 to 20, somewhere in that range. So it feels like every time he says something about Kentucky, Kentucky fans are like, dude, just be quiet. Like all this, like he seems like the enemy of BBN at this point. Like for some reason, he's not even doing it on purpose. But
Yeah. I hear you. There's one last thing I wanted to talk about with Otega Oweh. Basically, he said if UK wants to be the national champion this upcoming year, he says that UK has to be ranked in the top five for the best defensive team. And of course, you don't really have to worry about UK's offense, even if they aren't shooting threes, making threes, they'll be able to attack the paint. You saw how they did that against Duke in the second half, but last year, UK's defense, it wasn't the best until after that Ole Miss game. Basically, after the Ole Miss game, Mark Pope and his team started to lock in defensively, and I hope UK can do that throughout the whole year. And like what Otega Oweh was saying, being top five defensively this upcoming year.
yeah, no doubt. I think they will be too because like after the Ole Miss game last year, that was when the defense completely turned around. I think at one point we were like 11th in the country if you went from that game on. Now, hopefully, instead of waiting until a certain game this year, hopefully that's the entire year and we can be a top five defensive team overall. And I think a big part of that is going to be our anchor, Mohamed Diabate, defensively.
Yeah.
He's going to be the guy that has just endless hustle.
Mhm.
And he's going to be kind of the leader of that, like the defensive side of the ball, where he is one of the best defensive players in the country. He's going to be like that. Otega's going to be really good. Like
Yeah.
Aberdeen, like this whole team is going to be really good defensively. Like you said, Otega thinks it needs to be top five. I'm hoping it'll be that. I think it'll be comfortably top 10, but getting to top five will be very important.
Yeah. I don't really think you need to be top five defensively. I think you need to be top 10 defensively, in my opinion, to win the national championship. I mean, that's why Houston has been so great the past few years. It's not really been their offense. Granted, they do have a good, okay offense, but their defense hasn't just been insane over the years, and that's why they've been contending for the, Elite Eight, Final Four games every year, making it far to the second weekend, third weekend of the NCAA tournament. And if UK can lock in defensively, they could easily be a Final Four team.
Yeah, I don't remember the metric. It's like the every champ has been top 14 in both, I think, offensive and defensive efficiency on uh wait, what's the Ken Palm?
Can yeah.
So I think it's been like that's kind of what we need to focus on is just being basically top 15 in both. But I think this defense is going to be really good. Like you
Yeah.
said, you can be outside of top five and still win it.
Mhm.
But obviously the offense is going to have to carry a little bit of the load. I think we'll have a really good balance this year, offensively and defensively.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what UK can do, but like I said, we're doing some shorter segments on our YouTube channel, so hopefully you all will enjoy this. But this was probably like close to a 10-minute video just talking about Otega Oweh, what he said on the field of 68, and I'm just excited to see, Kentucky basketball play, within the next month and a half. Like Big Blue Madness is a month away, so excited about that as well.
Yeah, so soon, man. I'm excited for it.
But we appreciate you all watching and listening, of course. Continue to tune into our podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. But this is Chris Beesmore and
And Cameron Waddle.
Donnie out. Peace.